Okay, I have some more deep thoughts for you today. I just got back to Vienna from beautiful Puglia, Italy. And one of the things I loved so much about Puglia are these Trulli houses. And not because, they're popular touristic destinations, that's not the point. Um, but for generations, centuries, people have been painting in limestone symbols on the roofs of these Trulli houses. Some people call them Celtic symbols, though they're not really. They kind of originate more from like magical witchcraft folklore, all kinds of different traditions that were then, incorporated into the Christian church. But why? Why do people paint symbols, let's say, on the door of their house or on the roof of their house? Um, and it got me thinking about symbols themselves. What I love about a symbol is that when you see that symbol, it's like a compressed meaning. You create your own context for it. You extrapolate your own meaning from it. Different from reading a book or having a conversation. It's this compressed meaning into one singularity, and every person that looks at it is going to create a different context and have a different feeling and have a different kind of interpretation of what that means for them. So when somebody paints on their roof of their Trulli house a sign of protection or a heart, love, or an astrological symbol, or the cross, it represents what they stand for, what is deepest in their hearts. It's an artistic expression. It's also an insight into the household or the person, whoever drew it. Whether it was on cave walls, with prehistoric peoples, or symbols today. This is a thread that has connected human existence from the beginning. And I find this concept just so fascinating, so beautiful, and it can teach us a lot. A lot of you know that I work with cards, and a lot of people have real misconceptions about tarot cards, oracle cards. They think that if you have somebody read your cards that it's going to predict the future. No, actually, no, not at all. Cards are tools. Cards are symbols. Yes, we can use them, perhaps if you're a spiritual person, to channel messages, to reach into deeper layers of consciousness and connection and existence. But cards are also symbols, and they are gateways to opening conversation, self-reflection, and evaluation. And this is why I work with cards. So in the tarot, for example, there's a predetermined Reihenfolge, a series of meanings of what each card represents. And everybody who interprets the cards has their own context that they create. But with oracle cards, it's more creative, it's more free, and therefore it's more personal. So that's why I created an oracle deck, because after years of working with women in my yoga retreats and goddess yoga classes, and also honestly just having deep conversations with friends and family, I began to see patterns of self-transformation, patterns of self-reflection and self-healing and forward motion. And yeah, I started to see common denominators and common threads within the human journey itself. And this leads me back to the symbols. So, I decided that if I take what I have learned and I put what I have discovered and experienced and witnessed into symbols, then it's more readily available for people to have their own experience with it. And it's such a beautiful way to open a conversation. Because with oracle cards, for example, one ought to, yes, okay, it's wonderful to go to the guidebook and ask and see, okay, what does this card mean? And what does that mean for my life? But the thing is, the card actually means whatever you feel in that moment. What comes to you? What emotions does it evoke? Because the book is just what inspired the author to create that deck. And it's an opening, it's a threshold, it's a gateway for exploration. And that's why I absolutely love these cards. It's not about predicting the future. Can it help you make decisions to move your future into the direction you want it to go? Yes, absolutely. Can it put you in touch with deeper feelings and perhaps messages from the divine if you are inclined to connect with that? Yes, but the point is the conversation. The point is opening the awareness. The point is the self-reflection. And so I want to share with you a little bit. I'm going to start incorporating some cards into my little videos because they are threads that we can pull on. For example, we began this video talking about symbols and why they're so important to humans because of communication, because we as humans are storytellers. We are artists, we are creators. And I do believe that that is the most beautiful part about human existence, is our dreams, our sense of wonder. Us historically, from the Maya, the Egyptians, all the way through today, we look at the stars and we wonder, why are we here? What is the meaning of life? What brings me joy? What is my purpose? And I got the messenger, right? So what's interesting is I posted a video yesterday about the bird that landed on my dining room table. And it was wild because we looked in each other's eyes, and I wish I had filmed it, but I'm not. It was a moment where the animal world was communicating to me. Maybe it wasn't a message from above, but it sent a message to me. It opened an internal conversation, and it opened a conversation with you about really really important themes and topics. And then the next card I pulled is dreams. Again, what is a life without dreams? We have fairy tales, folklore, music, songs. And in a way, they're always about dreams. They're always about moving forward, creation. But every creation begins with a dream. Because if we can't dream, if we don't have vision, then what are we doing, actually? Those of us who are creators, thinkers, dreamers, movers in life. Aren't those the people who leave the symbols behind that are carried through centuries, through civilizations, around the world, appearing in amazing places and yet telling the same story? You don't have to believe anything to find beauty in that. So I guess what I've been trying to put into words my whole life, you know, you might see my content. Sometimes I'm waxing poetic. Sometimes I'm singing and playing music. Sometimes I'm doing yoga. Sometimes I'm dancing. Sometimes I'm writing, building community, whatever it is. But isn't that what makes us human? And that could take us into a whole conversation about AI. That's for another video. But I think a lot of us are standing at the threshold right now. I know a lot of people who are making big shifts. It's not just me. They're kind of saying, I don't know how to move forward, but I need a different structure. The bones of our world, the bones of our lives don't have to become a cage.